Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of 9x90. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Christel Caputo. She is not only, she's joining us from Miami, and she not only built a multi-million-dollar reinvention coaching practice in her 30s, but after losing it overnight due to a sudden state law change, she co-founded Ascension One, a global nonprofit. As executive director, she has raised over $3 million to fund transformative programs, empowering individuals worldwide to become conscious leaders in times of disruption. The three programs are the Pillars of Light, Earth Keepers, and Sacred Earth Expeditions. We will dive into all three in today's episode.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you for inviting me onto this beautiful conversation that we're about to have. I'm really inspired by you. I'm inspired by your book. I'm inspired by the way that you carry yourselves and the times that we've had the opportunity to meet and socialize. So I'm looking forward to whatever is coming in the next couple minutes.
So you built a multi-million-dollar coaching business early in your career and then lost it due to a law change. What was the law change?
So we were a business of reinventing for injured workers. And the law change that happened came with the passing of the budget, the state budget, in April of 2017. I was at a wine bar in Long Island City when I got a text from a colleague that said, "Are you okay?" And he had been following the New York State budget for his clients, and he was saying, "Is everything all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" Writing back, "Yeah, why? I've got my glass of wine in hand. I'm good. It's Sunday. Looking forward to the week ahead." And he just wrote, "Injured workers no longer need to look for work." And I remember thinking, this budget just sunk my battleship, like that board game ad in the 80s. Basically what had happened is labor and business had agreed that in order to pass this section of the budget, that they would take that away. And that was our entire business, helping injured workers reinvent themselves. So it collapsed like overnight. And my clients didn't necessarily know, because it takes a while for this to kind of ripple through the industry. So I had to be the one to tell them that this was going on. So I had to tell them that I was essentially out of business.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so how did you find the courage to rebuild in a new direction after that? Like, what was your inner conversation like?
Yeah, that was truly interesting because there were a couple things happening at the same time. So we were profitable. We had a full-time team. We had office space, and within weeks we had to let everybody go and close up shop. And I remember like sitting in silence in the great unknown for a while. But in the midst of all of this, I was deep into a yoga and meditation training with this woman named Rudrani Arpan. She was a powerhouse. She was in her 80s at the time, and she was my lighthouse. So she really helped like hold space for my own unraveling. And I have this thing that I was giving to other people, this example of like, you're sitting in the movie theater of your life and you're expected in the next movie theater because something new is meant for you. And there's an usher who knows that you need to be there. So I tell people all the time, "Oh, it's just the usher tapping you on the shoulder," and you're going, no, I'm good. I've got my popcorn. I've got my soda. I've got my candy. Like, I'm watching the movie that I want to watch. And the usher came for me, basically burned down my theater and was like, "You're done. You can no longer be here. You got to go. It's starting in 2 minutes." So.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So you use like visualization meditation techniques.
Yeah, I really had to, and trust. I had to understand that there was a divine timing that I was just unaware of as the human of Christel. And I had been resisting it for a while. There had been like little glimmers of, we were making an incredible amount of money. We were so profitable, but there was also these pieces of me that really weren't fully aligned with what I was doing, because I wanted people to reinvent, but injured workers weren't by and large necessarily motivated to reinvent. And so there were little things like I know that from the responses that I got from injured workers who would say, you know, Christel, I'm never going back to work, but what you did is you helped me see a side of myself that I didn't realize, and you gave me my self-esteem back. And so that was enough to keep me going for a little while. But then it would be countered by testimony and testifying about these injured workers who I'd reinvented and given them all of these job opportunities, and they'd go in and they'd sabotage the job opportunity, and then I had to testify to that, and that became really icky, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a part of me that was like, I'm making a lot of money, I'm supporting a lot of people, and I am doing overall good, but it's not fully aligned with what my heart and my soul is meant to do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I get it. Okay. So 5 years ago, you launched Evolution One.
Mhm.
What inspired the creation of your 3 signature programs? Did you start with one? Did you start with all 3?
Well, we started with one. So Asil, my co-founder, was going through a bit of an awakening himself at the same time as my world was crumbling.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he's like, I really believe that what's flowing through me and what's starting to flow through you can serve humanity and the earth. And I replied like, all right, let's honor that and let's see where it goes. So the first was the Pillars of Light. And that program came about because we were like a rock band, a traveling rock band at first. We were going all over the world. We were holding these intense energy and meditation sessions. And then COVID hit.
Okay.
And we thought, man, you know what? The world needs this now more than ever. Do you think we could do this online? And so we tried, and people were responding. We would host these sessions twice a week, and people just really drew to it like a moth to a flame. They were looking for some sort of like higher perspective or sense of inner calm or inner peace, like it was all going to be okay.
Mhm.
So a couple of months into it, I go over to host the session at Asil's house, and he says, "Don't be mad at me, I did something." And I was like, "What did you do?" And he said, he's like, "Well, I put something up on the website asking people if they'd be interested in a whole training, not just tuning in to a live stream, but if they'd be interested in a whole training." And 94 people within 24 hours said yes.
Yes.
So within like 3 weeks, we had a program that we had no idea what was gonna come through. People
Mhm.
paid $555 for it, and we went on this journey. And that was like the first. We called it Base Camp. It was a 4-week program, and then halfway through that program, we said, "Is there more?" And what came through was another 2 courses that developed the training for Pillars of Light. So that was Pillars of Light. That started out, and that was based on. Do you know the quote from Mr. Rogers about when he was a boy, he would see scary things in the news, and his mother would say, "Look for the helpers. You'll always find people who are helpers."
No, that's
Yeah.
so cute though.
Yeah, it's so sweet. And that's like the essence of Pillars of Light, where we are developing the helpers, like the people that in the chaos, they're the ones that are holding it down. Right?
Wow. Yeah.
Because when you think about it, right, Adi, like the world is, we were just talking about it, the world's just getting crazier.
Yeah. Yeah. Although sometimes I'm like, is it getting crazier, or is it just the social media algorithms putting all the craziness higher and higher up on the ranking algorithm so you only see the crazy stuff?
Yeah, that's very possible. But then that's a reflection of crazy, right? And that's
Yeah.
that's what becomes people's reality.
I know.
All
Yeah. So we're in a negative control loop.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know about you, but I've done a lot to just remove that noise, because I'm choosing to dial into a frequency that and a reality that does not include the news and the sound bites. And now with AI, I mean, think about it. Now with AI, you don't even know what's real. I mean, I listened to a whole thing about a trial, and somebody testifying at a trial, only to fact check it and find out that that never existed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, there were a few different things where I saw something on social media and then I just went to double check and it was like, no, this is made up just to get like a higher view count or a high session
Right.
time viewing the post. I'm like, you've got to be joking. I know. Yeah. I re-engineered my social media. I had to train it to be my pep talk cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
So I like looked up a bunch of like positive quotes and then just kept like liking those and like leaving it open on those until the algorithm was trained that it's supposed to be like my motivational coach. And then people are like, your stories are always so motivational on Instagram. And it's like, because I trained Instagram that's what it's supposed to give me if it wants me to stay on. But
Yep.
and every once in a while, like the algorithm will test, like it'll give me something scary and I'll immediately close the app because I don't want the app trained that it can show me scary stuff to keep me on. But yeah.
I'm doing the exact same thing, and I just started doing it a few months ago.
You have to. Otherwise it's so dark.
Yeah. I'm like, who's in charge here?
Yeah. At one point I was like not paying attention and it got to the point where every time I opened up Instagram, it was telling me how like another basic food in my cabinet was going to kill me. I was like, this is insane. I can't exist like this. So I had to like retrain the algorithm all over again.
Yeah. And also it's the you in response to this, right? So the work that we do and the training that I've cultivated and I've lived over the past 7 years has been, well, let's really look at my response to this. You know, what's in this for me? Why am I so attracted to that train wreck? Or why am I so attracted to that drama? There's something in me that's hooked into that. And so the work that we've been doing is like, oh, thank you very much for showing me that there's something inside of me that that is coming up to be realized, so that that can just be, you know, removed. And the social media, the clearing of the social media is a great like metaphor for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So raising over 3 million in philanthropic impact is no small feat. Can you share a key lesson or strategy you used to inspire donors to support your mission and vision?
Yeah. So this is a really interesting one, because up until now, all of our donors so far have been participants of our program.
That makes sense.
They've experienced the transformation firsthand. So our strategy has been simple. It's been like, hold a high integrity, sacred container, do the absolute best job to allow them to have an experience and allow them to sink into that experience and transform, and us just be the observers of that, and then let that ripple be the invitation. But for me personally, I had to do my own inner work around fundraising. I don't know if you've had this experience, but I was used to trading time for money.
Okay.
Right, as a businesswoman. So asking for funds to support a mission or a vision required some healing that I had to go through around worthiness and receiving. And I had to learn that there's more value in supporting collective evolution and contributing to the mental health space than just like completing tasks. So my strategy had to be the inner work to do
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
And on a practical level, we measure impact like obsessively. We survey every participant. We gather qualitative stories. We use that transparency to build the trust and the confidence in donors. And I think the donors really appreciate that, at least the ones that we've received. It's like we've had some really serious ultra high net worth individuals who have gone through the programs, yes, but also take their donations very seriously and run them through algorithms and, you know, and do all that. So they've been very impressed with the level of impact that we've been able to demonstrate, which I guess I didn't grow up in the nonprofit world, so I don't necessarily know that that's not the norm, but coming from donors who have offered this to me, I'm like, wow, okay, we're doing a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I have most of these trophies that are behind me are nonprofit, from nonprofit. If it's a brown plaque, it's from something nonprofit. If it's gold, it's from sailing.
Amazing. That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
do you have any strategies for me?
No, the impact is the biggest one. The impact is the biggest one. And the other thing that you were saying, where people experience and then they donate, that's typically what you see is people come in, they experience something life-changing, and then they want to donate for other people to have that life-changing experience. Let's see, there's one trophy, that one I think it is.
Yeah.
The black one, really heavy. My grandfather received that one. He was an international director with Rotary decades ago. He received that one after he convinced all of the international nonprofits to work together to eradicate polio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. But some of the others are are like, I think that was the coolest story. The rest are just like changing something. That was the one most like global one. The rest are just, he helped this country or helped that region. But polio, eradicating polio is the only, I think, huge worldwide one that we saw impact with. So in your training world, what does it mean to become an energetic anchor and conscious leader during global disruption?
Yeah, that is a great question. It's like, to me, the simplest way of expressing it is, it means being a lighthouse in the storm. So we train people to find that inner still point and lead from alignment rather than reaction, make decisions based on resonance. And, I mean, this disruption is the new norm, right?
Yeah.
But we've got more tools than ever to meet it. So there's a lot of disruption, there's a lot of chaos, but then there's also a lot available to us that wasn't available, right? The social media that you talk about, it goes both ways. Once you've trained the algorithm, you're pulling in all of this wisdom and cheerleading from different places that you couldn't really, access before. You just had to talk to a neighbor or talk to a friend or find a workshop or something like that. Now you can go on social media and everything's, everything's there at your fingertips.
Yeah. So I like this phrase, that energetic anchor. That's one of your phrases.
Mm-hmm.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, it's like we're holding it down, And on the Earth side of stuff, like we have the Earth Keepers program, and then we have the Sacred Earth expeditions, and that's like going out and being a light in certain places. So, for example, this energetic anchor, we've taken to sites of global trauma. We did a whole month-long trip throughout the Balkans, and we went to mass graves, and we went to previous concentration camps, and we held it down as an energetic anchor, delivering this high frequency energy through to these places.
Wow.
So those were like the examples, like the lighthouse in the major storm, right? And then you can feel, you talk to people who go to these places afterwards, like directly afterwards or around, you can feel the difference in the energy. It's like flowing again.
Yeah.
Right? Like this this energetic acupuncturist, this earth acupuncturist, going around to different places in the world and allowing that high frequency light to come into these places where energy had been stuck or stagnant.
I think it's really interesting how, from a botanical and human anatomy and physiology perspective, how the neurochemicals released by people when they are in a certain area impact the plants in that area.
Yes.
So you go in, you strategically are forcing specific neurochemicals to be released into your body, which means they're coming out your pores into the environment, and then the plants around there are reacting to that. And then later, people who don't understand anything at a cellular level are like, oh, it's different here. And it's like, well, yes, this is cellular biology 101. That's wild. That's wild. So you've made manipulation of cellular organic chemistry into this experience that everyone can experience regardless of their scientific background. Okay,
Yeah.
now I understand what you're doing. Now it's clicked. Okay, got it. Because I was not getting it before.
Okay, right, good. Yeah. That's applied to people and places, and then I guess the last thing I would say about this energetic anchor is I'm obsessed with big wave surfers. Have you? I don't know.
I don't do big waves. I do small waves, but I surf. Yeah.
Have you watched the 100-foot wave?
So I've watched a few of the big wave movies and whatever when I was a kid, and now as an adult who has broken bones and they like stress me out to watch. So no, if it came out within the past 5-10 years, I have not watched it.
All right. Well, as a surfer that every wave is unpredictable, right?
So where I go surfing, we look for patterns and sets.
Sure, you look for patterns and sets, but you can't guarantee that pattern, the best of your planning, you can't guarantee that pattern or set is going to go off exactly as you had planned, or there's not going to be a dolphin or another surfer that comes into your path.
I went surfing and there were dolphins and sharks in Australia. Yeah.
Right. So you have to be very present in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the level of like this energetic anchor. It's like really holding it down when all the conditions are changing around you, because in the present moment is the unlimited possibility, right? If you are fully in the present moment, the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, but everything can exist in that moment. And so you can pivot at any moment in time. And surfers, especially the big wave surfers that I've studied and I've watched, talk about, they call it like being in the zone, and it's beyond the adrenaline. It's the pure presence that they have like in that moment to meet that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. But yeah. So you grew up surfing as well?
I didn't. I grew up on the beach on Long Island, but I didn't, I've had a little bit of a foray in surfing in like Sayulita and in like, I would call them the bubbles of the waves.
Okay.
Which is why I'm even more obsessed with big wave surfers, because I'm like, oh my God, how is it even possible?
Yeah. No, I don't like, there have been a few times I went surfing where I almost drowned. So I don't like, and one time I actually blacked out and came to on the beach. So I don't like big wave surfing anymore, to say the least. I like the longboard with the small waves. I have 2 kids, can't be injured anymore. The days of testing Mother Nature are far behind me.
Okay. Will you allow your kids to surf though? Would you?
Yeah. No, actually I have two boards downstairs in the garage that I was just remembering I need to pack for when we go up to New England. So what we do is usually when the kids turn between 7 and 8, we put them on a short board that they grow into. So they start with a short board, they grow into it, and then they don't realize that they're a short board surfer by the time they're like 11, 12, because they grew into the board. And then we have longboard for the older people like me.
Okay. All right. And do you get out and surf with them?
So they're at the age where I don't surf. If they're surfing, I'm in the water next to them.
Okay.
Because they're little. They're 3 and 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm swimming. I do take them paddleboarding with me,
That's fun.
but I don't take them. I take them in the bay for that. I don't take them in the ocean for paddleboarding yet, just because they're not very strong swimmers yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't want them to be shark food.
Definitely not. That would just ruin the summer, I would say.
Yeah. I'm emotionally attached to the things I gave birth to. So,
And all their limbs.
yeah, I really like them being whole, just like they were when they came out. It was a lot of work to get them 4 limbs. So, yeah. Okay. Here we go. We have a few more questions and then we're gonna jump. So for individuals facing major life transitions, event losses, what practical steps or mindset shifts from your courses can someone apply right now to navigate uncertainty with purpose and resilience? And we probably should link to like one of your introductory courses in the show notes also.
Okay. Yeah, we could totally do that. So the basis of our work starts with SPA, silence, presence, and alignment. And those are very seemingly easy concepts to grasp, but you could spend a lifetime on just silence, presence, and alignment. So some of the ways that we teach people to cultivate silence, presence, and alignment, especially really anywhere, is through movement. So allowing people to, like, when you're, because we're talking practical, right? Whenever I'm in a mode of like, okay, overwhelm or whatever, I get up, I take a walk, or I turn on a song and I dance, and maybe I sing a little bit, and I get the energy, like the stuck energy shifted.
Yeah.
The other aspect of it, which we teach during our silence, presence, and alignment, is tracking your breathing. So not just breathing in, but like tracking from the air through to your nostrils, into your lungs, circulating through your body, out through your lungs, out through your nostrils, and following that, so that you're breaking a mental loop. You're giving your mind something to do that's not looping with whatever it is.
Okay.
And the last piece, the last piece that I do often, and we teach people to do, is this element of grounding. So feeling your heart, like putting your hand on your chest and feeling against your palm the rise and the fall of your chest and your heartbeat, and recognizing, coming into a recognition of where do I end and something else begins, like the chair that I'm sitting on. How does gravity feel being pulled down into this Earth's core? So those little things, even though they seem so simple, once you have them down, then you can be in the midst of anything, right? You could actually be in the midst of a fight with somebody, and you're putting your hand on your heart, right?
Yeah.
And you're recognizing, okay, like this is me grounding myself, right? So those are just, some of the things, and that's a very basic, and it's very foundational, but the work that we do is embodied, right? If you're looking for like flying off into the ethers, and there's a lot of like spiritually disconnected or spiritual bypassing that goes on in our industry, so to speak, but we pride ourselves on personal energy management, recognition of what's coming through to us, being able to have some space between what our feelings are, or what our emotions are, or what our thoughts are, and who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that come out to help cultivate resilience, to help people feel connected again to themselves, to the earth, and to others.
Do you find that, and we were talking about a little bit about this before, in the family office bubble, most of us are raised by industry titans who run around and whatever they say is gospel, and
Yeah.
they expect to command their children the same way. So a lot of people that we grew up with have this lack of a sense of self because they never were allowed to in their home growing up. So have you found that there's like specific programs that you do with this unique demographic that helps them to learn it's okay to communicate your needs and your boundaries instead of waiting till you get to this explosive level? Like, do you have programs that you do with them?
Yeah, I mean, there's we have something called Discovery Series, Aligning Self and Earth, and that really teaches people about that we are an energy body, and we've got a physical body, we have a mental body, we have an emotional body, and we have an energetic spiritual construct, like a container that holds, all of that. And within that, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so requesting alignment, and it's not instantaneous, but requesting alignment of each of these bodies and seeing what comes up, aligning with this energy, this high frequency life force energy. Some people call it chi, some people call it Reiki, whatever. It's this life force energy that that you can bring through and command to allow yourself to align, to then get a different perspective, to put that space between yourself and the situation that you have grown up into. So it's about giving yourself some space to recognize that you are born into a family, but you are not that family. You are a soul, right, playing a part in that family. And how do you interact and how you play a part is can shift, and as realizations come through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. This is a fan favorite question. What are some tools and tactics that you use to manage your time and your team effectively?
Okay. Well, we are entrepreneurs at heart, and for-profit and efficiency experts. So we use all the things. We use the Monday.com, the Slack, the HubSpot. We have incorporated AI for admin tasks. We set OKRs. We have stand-ups. But our secret tech is actually energetic. So every Monday we open our weekly team call with a meditation. Each one of our members and it's not long, but each one of the members of our team takes a turn in attempting this meditation and guiding people. If the energy feels off in any particular project, we pause and we recalibrate. We go back to like, what is the energy that wants to emerge from this project, and are we aligned with it, right? Because there's a lot of times where you can feel like, well, this is what I want to do, but our organizations are energetic and they are coming through us. We're all stewards of an idea that was in the ethers that is now being brought through. And so if we're misaligned, we find that if we're trying to assert in our ego the thing that we think that we want, but that's not really aligned with the momentum of the project, then we've got to stop and we've got to realign. So it's taking those pauses. And then also each member of the team is expected to tend to their own like inner field, because personal energy is productivity. So they have access to all of our programs. We speak a shared language, and we give each other that space to recognize like, hey, I'm going through this other thing that could then be contributing to our group team field, that that either I'm going to like give myself a timeout here if I'm really frustrated or something has just happened, and I'll read the AI transcript of the meeting afterwards and contribute my my thoughts and contribution, or I'm gonna be able to just like put this into the space and allow it to just like relax. So it's interesting. Do you have any like little energetic secret tools for your team that you?
Not so much energetic. There are some people on the team who need to be a little bit more strategic.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a call with them and they sound insecure, I'm very quick to say, you don't have a luxury to be insecure. You have to move confidently. So let's talk through this.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail, I'm going to tell you, we're going to fix it, and we're going to go back and you're going to learn how to do it better the next time.
Mm-hmm.
If you succeed, we will move on from it. So like I take more of the athlete with the coach type of approach. Yeah, like where I listen very closely when I'm speaking to them about what they need to work on and having them explain it to me. And yeah, I don't take hesitation or insecurity. Those are both huge red flags for me.
Yeah.
As soon as they're insecure, I'm like, no, you don't have a luxury to be insecure. Like, so let's talk through this. What are you afraid of having go wrong?
Beautiful.
But yeah.
Yeah, but you're also giving them the space that you're telling them it's okay, that it's not going to be the end of the line with you with them.
Yeah.
It's like we're going to learn from it, which I think is really important as a leader, is you know, because you carry a lot of, you know, people as leaders. We have people that are in our care, right? They're entrusting their livelihoods to us. They're entrusting their professional like careers to us. And we have to be good stewards of those people, you know, as well. So I love that you're letting them know that, like, yeah, if you screw up, then we're going to learn from this. We will learn from this. And you can learn from this.
Oh, it takes me so long to find someone that I like and actually trust.
Yeah.
That, I invest a lot into developing them rather than replacing them. And I know, like, if you have lower HR standards at like bigger companies, they're going to be faster to hire and fire because they don't have the quality control metrics. But when I find someone that I like working with, that I actually like feel like I can trust and I'm comfortable with, I'm investing time into making sure they stay with me for the long term. All right, so we have one final question. What is the best way for let's see, you were saying that you have people come through, they use your program, and then they become donors. So if we're looking zoomed out, you don't necessarily want donors. You want people who are going to come through and experience one of your programs, and then stay in your ecosystem for the long term.
Yes, and we'd love to have donors who feel inspired to give this to other people and to help us, to really help us build the structure that we need as a nonprofit. We don't want to have to constantly be spending our energy finding money. We want to be spending our energy innovating and delivering on our mission. And so there's ways to do that, and we are going through a raise. And the hope is that you don't necessarily have to take the time out to go through the program. We'd love for you to go through the program, but if you are giving to us, then we are bringing tens of thousands of people through these programs, and that is where where we move the needle on mental health and changing the world. So.
Okay. All right, very cool. And we will include a copy to some of your documents and links to your online courses and things where people can register. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But in the meantime, you can immediately get in touch with us through, I'm on LinkedIn. So Christel Caputo, CHRISTL Caputo, which I think you'll put in the links.
It'll all be in the show notes. So if you go to the show
yeah.
notes on her page, it'll show her underneath her guest intro, then her about the episode, and then it'll show links for connecting to everything.
Yes, and then Evolution One has a LinkedIn profile as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're more, you know, into the social media aspect of it, we are Evolution One is our handle for Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope that people got to learn a lot throughout this. This is the first time we've had a spiritual podcast episode, but I think it was fun. I think it was very timely given everything we have going on the East Coast right now.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yes, and I wish you well in your Twitter transfer up, and send some good energy to your new surfing experiences with your kids.
Yeah, well, this is year 2. They started last year. This is year 2, but thank you. All right. Well, I'll see you all back online.
Take care.